Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the surgery that I had on my arm. When I look at the actual approval for the surgery, it says that it's the removal and drainage of a lesion in the gland, in the armpit gland. So back in, I would probably say around July of 2013, when I was in Minnesota, I got really, really sick, and so I had a friend of mine, Chris. So hi, Chris Burton. He took me to the emergency room, I believe, in Minnesota. And while I was there, I had, I'd noticed, and I don't know if this was just an off and on then thing then, but I definitely brought it up. There was like a bump in my armpit, and sometimes you can see it, and sometimes you can't. But it's usually, just flesh colored. It just protrudes out a little bit. And so, I brought that to the doctor's attention while I was there, even though I was there for whatever else that might have been going on. And he was like, "Oh, the antibiotic that I gave you should get rid of that." So I feel like that might have been something that came and went every now and then. I honestly don't remember. I just remember poignantly in 2013 when I was in Minnesota talking to that doctor about that. But this year, which is 2017, in April, um, yeah, I brought it up to my PCP that it had come back and there was a lot of pain associated with it. And it made it sometimes difficult for me to raise my arm. Um, and so, she said it's probably just a cyst or whatever, and she couldn't see it at the time. She could just feel it. And so she said, just soak it with a washcloth as hot as you can take it, with some Epsom salt or some chamomile tea bag on it, for about 10 minutes a couple times a day or whatever. Um, and then she also prescribed mupirocin 2% ointment, MUPIROCIN. And let me tell you, that thing got so big and so red, like it was horrible. And at one point, it did start to drain and just like it just looked like my armpit was throwing up. Sometimes it was just like pus kind of thing, and then sometimes it was blood. Like it was just disgusting. Um, and it was really really big. I'm gonna try to post a picture of it as the thumbnail for this. We'll see if that works because I tried to pull it up on my PC so that I could show the picture of it during this, but apparently it's nowhere to be found. So, but it is on my Surface Book. So I'll do my best to share that with you guys. So after doing a ultrasound on it, after it had calmed down a lot more, because then they did put me on Kflexin again, and that helped to bring it down more. Um, they did give me an ultrasound on it, and when I went back to the PCP about it, they were like, "We're going to refer you to a surgeon so you can have it taken care of. You want it taken care of, right?" And I said, "If this is something that's holding up like circulation through my body or has anything going on with anything else, like I want this taken care of. Um, I want the least amount of problems possible." So even when I went to the surgeon, it was a big thing about, do I really want the surgery? And so I just made sure that I asked him a lot of questions about like if this is something that would recur if we took care of it. Is it something that if we took care of it here, it's gonna show up on the other one? Like, here are the conditions that I have. Is it somehow affiliated with any of this? Um, so he made it sound like it was a one shot deal. Hopefully, wouldn't get infected, and it really shouldn't be something that's recurring. You know, whatever. So, you know, we signed up. We did it. So last Thursday is when we went and did it. So that was obviously really traumatizing for me because it was at Fountain Valley Regional Hospital, and there was a big to do about that because I got approved for the surgery back in July, and it is currently September. Um, and I guess I kept calling back the surgeons to schedule the surgery, and they kept saying, "Call us back in 2 weeks if you haven't heard from us." And so I kept doing that, even though I don't think that's really my job. It really should be them doing that. And eventually they told me, "Oh, well, you've only been approved to have it done at Fountain Valley Regional Hospital, and we very rarely do surgeries there. So we're just waiting for an opening there. And you're also on a wait list, just to let you know." And I was like, "Awesome, that's horrible. Can you tell me what the other, hospitals that you do contract with so that I can take that back to my insurance so I can be like, or my medical group, and be like, hey, if this is such a big thing, because again, you're now going to have to extend the approval because it's expired. Um, if one of these other locations that they readily do surgeries out of are ones that I can be approved to go to, like I would just want this done sooner or later because this was also holding up my work rehabilitation. So again, it's almost like somebody like said something to somebody, and next thing you know, I get a phone call the Thursday before saying, "Hey, your surgery is going to be next Thursday at this time." And so, the person I talked to, went over, all the guidelines, and I tried to get as much information from them as possible because I was like, here's the thing, you guys are asking me to, not eat first thing in the morning, not drink water first thing in the morning, and then have to wait, and I have to arrive at a place that's far away from my home at 12:30. My surgery's not till 2:30 p.m. And then obviously it's probably going to be what, 3:30, 4:30 before I get to eat first. Like that's a really long stretch. That's really difficult on my body. And their concerns were because if things, I guess, went sideways or things weren't going as planned, they might have to stick something down my throat or something like that. And if there's any kind of regurgitation, that could be a problem. So I was just like, I need you guys to get back to me on like the very bare minimum on all those things as far as, we have to keep in mind everything that's going on with me. So while they didn't get back to me on that, I did my best to make arrangements because that hospital has the worst parking situation anywhere. It would almost be better if they charged people to park there because there would probably be more spaces. But I know that when I was going there, because it's the same hospital that my last GI was out of, I used to have to park across the street in the grocery store parking lot where they tell you not to park, or they'll tell you, but I knew that my appointments were usually going to be like 15 minutes long if I was lucky. So I used to just park there and run across the street. So I got some family members to hop on the bandwagon. One drove me there and then one picked me up. But, I had to make sure that, especially for me, that I basically woke up like a minute or two before I needed to get in the car to go. And then I just had to maintain a very solemn, almost like I was asleep the entire time on the drive there. And then it sucked when I got there because when I got there, they didn't even take me in anywhere until about 1 p.m. So that's a whole half hour they could have just like sliced off of that as far as, don't have me get there early for that. And I was almost traumatized. Like I really had to like zone out and just like talk to myself and just like keep it like, I'm asleep, I'm asleep. Because there were some people that were getting into a fight in the waiting room for this place. So that was a little bit crazy. And then I guess it's a decent looking hospital. It looks like they did some renovations because the meeting rooms where they go to like register you or whatever are these little small things that look like they added onto the hospital post. But there was a guy that was in this huge wheelchair and he couldn't be wheeled into the room to register. So that was something that they probably should have thought about when they put that all together. So that was a little bit on the crazy side. And then finally they did take me in. So as far as my horror stories from this whole situation was just a lot of like waiting around kind of things. But they wanted to put the IV in the top of my what is this, my hand, the top of my hand, and I don't know if you can still see it because I don't heal very quickly, but they stuck me 2 different times, and I guess they were trying to do it slow, and I guess there's something as far as clutching or clasping on, some sort of like thing where it wasn't, so like there was a big thing where the nurse had to like push on it. I was just like, this is traumatizing, like I can't even deal. Like there's something really weird. I don't know if it's just because of all the weight loss or because of all the bad stuff that's happening to me, but my veins are very easy to see. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but they're very easy to see anywhere and everywhere. So why that was such a crazy thing. And then they end up eventually just putting it in, right there, which super easy. Again, I don't know why they did it on the hand. It's crazy pants. And of course, you can still see I have the stick up on there um, because I'm trying not to do anything with my right arm. Um, so, as far as when I went into the surgery, they did try to keep me heated, so they put like warm blankets on me, and I was just like, "Hey, is that necessary?" Because I'm already feeling that there's issues going on um, in my like a warmth in my chest, and that was already happening in the hospital. And I don't know if that was just because I needed to eat or what. I did feel like I had a little bit of a cold a couple of days before. So when I was talking to the nurse before, I said, "Yeah, I'm not. I mean, nothing outlandish. It doesn't feel right." My dad had a cold at the time too, so it wouldn't have been like out of the ordinary. But it's strange because since my gastroparesis diagnosis, I have noticed that I haven't gotten sick like a regular normal person, or that it's shown itself as a normal, like a cold or a flu or anything like that. So it's always like really questionable. You never know. Um, but once they did whatever it was that they were putting me out, I was out, and then when I woke up, I think I might have already been in recovery. I don't even remember. Sorry, I don't remember. But I also don't remember the surgeon coming back and talking to me like they told me that he was going to, and I totally had a sore throat. Um, so I'm assuming that they put the thing. I think that they told me that they put the thing down my throat, which they were like, we weren't sure. And then what's crazy is, so the nurse that was getting rid of me said that I had to wait 24 hours before I took a shower and just make sure that. So when I called the next day to the surgeon, they were like, "Yeah, we can't see you till like October 9th, which I think is like a month away." Well, now it's a little bit closer, but it's like a month away. And I was like, um, okay, so can I drive or exercise? And they're like, "Yeah, no." So it sucks because I can't really do anything, and I'm just again not trying to do anything with the arm, but that's what it kind of sort of looks like. And the nice thing about it is that the gauze is still white, so there's not like blood or anything like that. And I'm not noticing. I mean, sometimes it gets a little bit warm in there. Um, so I don't think it's infected or anything like that. And I was given gauze and the little stickums so that if this does come off within the month, that I can go and just pat it in there or whatever, which I think is going to be a horrifying experience for me if I have to do that, because I already am dreading when the surgeon goes and looks at it and has to take it off and all that stuff. I don't know what it's going to be like. But as far as any kind of pain, I haven't had to take any pain medication. They did prescribe me something, but because people with gastroparesis are always saying like they have bad situations happen with pain medications, I want to stay as far away as possible. But if anything, I feel a pinch. There are moments when this feels numb, so I just kind of do this. I have noticed that it does feel puffy, but I feel like that has only happened since I started taking the antibiotics with it. So they have me on antibiotics for a week just to make sure that nothing gets infected. And again, I've shown you another video that I did notice that it does accentuate whatever bumpy situation is going on there. But otherwise, I'm doing okay with it. I wonder if there's anything else I need to tell you about the surgery. I don't think so. I think everything felt like it went smoothly, and we'll just see what happens when the surgeon takes this off and tells us what we can do with our bodies in a few weeks. So that's all very exciting, obviously.